I've got good news for everybody. Call of Duty games are coming to the Nintendo platform. You know what that means? Extremely easy kill farming on an online FPS. You see me attempt to play the Apex Legends port on Switch, a choppy 20 frames per second 720p low settings. I'm certainly piecing you up on the Joy-Con with less than 1/8 of an inch of travel on those thumbsticks. The sporadic Wi-Fi connection on the Switch has got to be good for ping on an online FPS. And you encounter a player, not standing behind cover, probably holding a gun with a dry mag, flashbanged himself, he's half blind, he or she, I don't want to assume the gender of your shitty gameplay, and you're just sitting there aiming down sights, chuckling to yourself, calling your buddies in from the other room, hey, Jerry, Sarah, get a look at this guy. Now you wonder to yourself because you have two options. Is this a mobile player I'm about to piece up, or is this a Switch player I'm about to crack in the dome and send home? Doesn't really matter in the end because it's just a free kill. What I'd recommend doing in that situation is starting a gameplay clip with the share button and doing a slick little slide cancel to the left to loosen up their ankles to where they realize this guy's on a real console or PC. I'm over here on my fucking phone or Switch. What am I doing with my life? And then you have to wonder what Microsoft and Nintendo are doing with their lives, considering it's no surprise the Tegra processor on board the Switch was underpowered March 3rd of 2017 when the tablet, and yes, the console technically is the tablet, and it certainly is now. I mean, even in the $300 budget banger Series S slaps silly processing-wise the Switch. And granted, developers can do absolute magic, not Game Freak, obviously, with the entire Pokemon franchise, but when you see things like Breath of the Wild, games that look absolutely gorgeous and play phenomenally, even with that Tegra processor holding it back somewhat, Nintendo Studios certainly can do some black magic, trickery, or voodoo to make these games really pop and play fantastic. However, that is not the case with first-person shooter ports. I own the BioShock and Borderlands trilogies. They're playable and somewhat enjoyable, but by far the worst performance of any platform. The only thing in comparison maybe being a very, very low-spec PC. The Steam Deck isn't even comparable. Don't worry about my hair, just worry about how high your KD ratio is going to go up when you start encountering all of these mobile players and now Switch players, or by the time COD games actually start releasing on the Nintendo platform, Nintendo will most likely be working on their next home console or hybrid console that can be docked for home use and then taken on the go. Maybe a Switch 2, Switch Pro, you know, what we would have likened the Switch OLED to be. I need to hit some coffee. Mouth is drier than the Mojave Desert. Burn the tip of the tongue. Team AIM, they sent me out this little cup for Christmas. In case you missed that unboxing review, for the 6 people that missed it and care, that is down there in the description below as well. But this here news is talk of the town. This particular article that I have pulled up is from GameSpot, and it is from yesterday, 11 in the AM. Microsoft has announced a new agreement with NVIDIA. That's good that they're renewing their contract. They've had a long-running deal with NVIDIA. The current chipset that is in the Switch is an NVIDIA chip. The 10-year deal will see first-party Xbox games that are playable on PC, like Minecraft, for example, arriving on GeForce Now, which is NVIDIA's streaming platform. It's been around for years. I always mention it alongside, Google Stadia, which has, of course, shit canned itself. Amazon Luna. Wow, that's blurry. But anyway, all these platforms here, these are some cloud gaming platforms. And if the Activision Blizzard acquisition passes, which thus far it looks like it is going to, with that deal has had to jump through a lot of red tape thus far with UK regulators, as well as a couple of hyper chodes that I talked about previously that were self-proclaimed gamers, but really Aria here. Like, what's your motive? What's the ulterior motive here? That is in the gaming news playlist if you wanted to hear that video. That would mean titles from the Call of Duty franchise arriving on the streaming service too. So double gross. Not only would you be playing Call of Duty games on a Nintendo console, which by far would be the pinnacle of the shittiest tier of platform to play on, but you would also be streaming it. So you would be introducing all those issues with latency because you're bouncing off of a server and then coming back to you because it's cloud gaming. You're not gaming on local hardware, which would already be painful enough because it's a Nintendo console, which has never been about sheer balls to the wall performance. That's not true, actually. If you look back to like the SNES and the N64, those were graphical powerhouses for their time. But since the trifecta of Titans, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo have been duking it out, Nintendo's generally been, you know, they're not really about sheer graphical performance or having processing that'll twist your nips back. They're about having lovely party games like Mario Party and Mario Kart, kick-ass exclusives like Mario, Pokemon, Zelda, Metroid, Kirby, etc. And then you're probably curious what the fuck is going on with Sony, with Team Blue. Microsoft has also supposedly offered a 10-year Call of Duty deal with Sony to keep the FPS franchise on PS platforms, but the two companies don't appear to be close to agreeing on those terms. Jim Ryan and Phil Spencer haven't really been seeing eye to eye on this whole acquisition of Activision Blizzard, it being the largest acquisition of any video game studio we've ever seen, $68.7 billion, and the previous one to that was also from Microsoft, $7.5 billion, with the acquisition of ZeniMax Media Group, which of course includes Bethesda. So we're talking about Fallout, Skyrim, Elder Scrolls, all that good stuff, and of course Starfield. But if this deal actually goes through, it'd be the largest acquisition of a video game studio ever, and all of those IPs, all of those games that come associated with AB, which is a shitload. Like we'll just grab Candy Crush, for example, probably not the one you expected me to talk about first, but it's like the largest grossing mobile phone game. All those bored shitless housewives with baby spit up on their shirts that have the DLC and expansion packs for Candy Crush, and they have those little rubber caps they slip on their thumbs for their phone because they don't want chafing on their screen because they're swibbity swiping for so many hours. They love that shit. They can't get enough of it. Just like you can't get enough of that Call of Duty. And now, hold on a second, I needed fucking props here. And now with your hungry bloodlust being the esports athlete that you think you are when you're playing tethered to the PC with that sick 4-button controller from one of the many Gamer Heaven reviews that you've watched over the years, and you encounter a player not standing behind cover, probably holding a gun with a dry mag, flashbanged himself, he's half blind, he or she, I don't want to assume the gender of your shitty gameplay, and you're just sitting there aiming down sights, chuckling to yourself, calling your buddies in from the other room, hey, Jerry, Sarah, get a look at this guy. Now you wonder to yourself because you have two options. Is this a mobile player I'm about to piece up, or is this a Switch player I'm about to crack in the dome and send home? Doesn't really matter in the end because it's just a free kill. What I'd recommend doing in that situation is starting a gameplay clip with the share button and doing a slick little slide cancel to the left to loosen up their ankles to where they realize this guy's on a real console or PC. I'm over here on my fucking phone or Switch. What am I doing with my life? And then you have to wonder what Microsoft and Nintendo are doing with their lives, considering Call of Duty fans aren't buying Nintendo consoles to play COD, and gamers that do own a Switch that do like COD play on other platforms. I know because I'm speaking from experience personally and also from my comrades, my amigos, my community that I speak to. I hear it all the time. I've got a Switch for the exclusives and for playing on the go, but I would never play a shooter like COD on it. And that makes absolute sense, but apparently not to Microsoft and Nintendo, who would like to throw money into a fat COD deal. They could probably allocate those funds into more acquisitions of studios, or more likely, more realistically, into continuing to fight to push through the AB acquisition, which has not been a smooth road thus far for Microsoft. That's all I got. Free kills coming in the near future. Not free. You still have to work for them a little bit. You still have to burn a couple calories to aim down sights and clack the trigger, but they're, Nintendo platform. If you enjoyed the video, liking it helps it to get seen by more gamers. This information will reach and assist them as well, which in turn helps me grow this little channel, which I do greatly appreciate. Subscribe for more content like this. I cover news in the gaming community and industry, tutorials helping you get set up streaming and YouTubing, as well as honest gaming product reviews, keyboards, mice, headsets, controllers, mics, chairs, etc. There are some hefty exclusive discount codes found only in the description of my videos and only for the audience here at Gamer Heaven. I have links to all my other platforms and socials in the description below. To get in touch with myself and the Stallions and Stallionettes of Gamer Heaven, join the community Discord, and check me out at twitch.tv where I go live every other leap year on a blue moon if it falls into an odd calendar number, and my pH balance is on point. Just kidding, starting June I'm going to be live streaming a lot. Thanks for watching. This has been AK40 Kevin hosting Gamer Heaven, and I'll see you tomorrow because I upload daily, all the time, 60% of the time, sometimes, most of the time. Peace.